Here we are. It's day 13. You're almost 2 weeks into your meditation career. Really, truly, I want you to give yourself a big internal high five. I'm pulling out my imaginary pom-poms and cheering you on. And actually, day 13 is my lucky number, so I feel good about today. Also, in case you've been curious about what my ring says, it says snacks, because I really love snacks and I always use them as teaching tools when I pretend to be meditating. So before we dive into the actual M-word technique, I want to cover some of the most common questions that tend to come up around this point in the journey. So to start, let's talk about the breath. Right? Because there are lots of other styles of meditation where they're using the breath exclusively as the vehicle to de-excite the body. Whereas in the M-word technique, we have a few different modalities that we're using. So obviously we're starting with the balancing breath, and the idea there is that we're starting to settle down the body. I really like to imagine that as the bow on the bow and arrow, just pulling everything back, and then we surrender into the effortless silence. But you might notice that when you're in that effortless silence, that your breathing gets quite shallow. And that can be a little scary for people because they're concerned that like, oh no, am I breathing? Did I stop breathing? Or we think that we should be deep breathing when we're meditating. But I want to give you permission to just let the breath do whatever it needs to do. What happens for most people is that it tends to get a little bit more shallow. And that's actually an indicator that this mantra is doing its job, that it's de-exciting the nervous system. And you might find that you're barely breathing, right? And then eventually your brain is going to say, excuse me, I would like some oxygen, please. And then you'll take a nice deep inhale. And it might feel really nice. So if that's happening, know that it's A-okay. You don't have to worry about lining up your breath and the mantra, right? You don't have to like inhale and then exhale the word. Just let it do its thing. After a couple of days, usually the breath and the mantra start to consciously uncouple themselves, just like Gwyneth Paltrow. So that's the breath. Now, the other question that I get a lot is, can I lie down? And the answer is no. That's called napping. That's not meditation, and you know how to nap already. Okay, you don't need to take this course to learn how to nap. Now, I understand that your head might get real heavy and you might feel like you want to lay down and take a nap, or even feel like you're falling asleep. And I want to give you permission to fall into that sleepy feeling. But if you actually lie down while you're meditating, you'll just be like, and then you're not going to hear anything that I'm saying. So, back supported, head free, that's kind of non-negotiable. And by kind of, I mean non-negotiable. Okay, so third question that comes up often around this point in the journey is, why am I more emotional? I took this course because I wanted to be a little bliss bunny and I wanted to just be like happy and joyous all the time. And yes, more bliss is on the way. But two things. When I say the word bliss, I don't mean happiness. When I say bliss, I mean that piece of you that knows that everything's okay. And it's possible to experience bliss even when you're sad, even when you're angry. There's a little piece of you that knows that everything is going to be A-okay. And as we start this meditation practice, it starts to grow this background of bliss, which paradoxically can allow you to feel the entirety of the spectrum of emotions. Strangely, you having access to this infinite bliss and fulfillment is the thing that's going to allow you to feel safe enough to actually release a lifetime of old stresses. So the analogy I like to use here is, let's imagine there was a 10-year-old boy. Okay, and he goes to school and a bully threatens to punch him and take his lunch money. And he's really scared, but the bully says, don't you cry, because if you cry, I'm gonna do it again tomorrow. And so the kid, he sucks it up and he manages to keep it together. And then he gets home and his mom sees him and his mom says, honey, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she hugs him and he suddenly starts crying and he's like, ah, ah, ah. Right? Now, is it his mom that's making him cry? No. It's that he feels safe enough with his mother to actually let go of all of the stress that he had encountered that day. So this is what meditation is doing for us, okay? Meditation is wrapping us in her ample bosom and allowing us to feel safe enough to release the lifetime of accumulated stresses that most of us have in our body. So I just want to reiterate, really, truly, if you're sad, have a good ugly cry. Rent a sad movie. If you're angry, punch the pillow. Listen to an angry song. Go boxing. And if you're tired, please take a nap. The more rest you can give yourself right now, the easier this process is going to be for you. Okay, so that's my top 3 questions. As far as the breath, just kind of let it do its thing. Posture, back supported, head free, and let the emotions come. The way we want to think about this is like a floodgate. You know, we've been storing this stuff up for a few decades, and right now it's going to come flooding out. So let it fly. Know that it's going to slow down, and it's going to slow down to a trickle. And all the while, your life is going to keep getting brighter and shinier and more elegant and more productive. So what I'd like for you to do now is actually watch the video from yesterday, which we're going to link right here, and you can move through all the elements of the M word in succession. And that is going to start to be your everyday practice, but I want to guide you through a few more times until you really get the hang of it. So enjoy doing the M word, don't skip that part, and then let us know what you think about that analogy of, the kid crying after he sees his mom. So I really want to encourage you to share your experience, even if you're having a tough time right now. I guarantee you're not alone. And sometimes knowing that someone else is going through that experience brings you some comfort as well. So let's use our tribe like a tribe is meant to be used. All right, I'm sending you guys a lot of love. Enjoy doing your M word, and I'll see you tomorrow.